They say that there are words that don't just describe the world. They create it. And among all the words ever spoken, there is one sacred sequence that was sealed as a spiritual key. Psalm 145. It wasn't written to be recited like a charm. It was designed to activate an energetic field, one that connects the human mind with the divine mind itself. That's why David didn't write it from abundance. He wrote it from emptiness, from that dark space where everything seemed lost, where faith trembled between light and doubt. In that moment of collapse, he discovered that within language lives a power that can reorder reality. Psalm 145 is the formula of that order. It's not just another prayer. It's the architecture of correct thought, the frequency through which man tunes into the source of life. And maybe that's why you're here, not to learn how to ask for more, but to remember how to receive. Because abundance isn't about having. It's about understanding the law that multiplies. And that law isn't outside you. It breathes within every word you speak. So before we continue, stop for a moment. Close your eyes. Imagine a golden light rising from your chest. It begins to form letters, and those letters swirl into a perfect circle. Inside that circle, an inner voice whispers, "Heaven isn't above you. Heaven begins within you." And the moment you remember this, your soul aligns with the same creative force that gave birth to the stars. Then words stop being sound and become doors that open. David wasn't just a king. He was an initiate, a man who understood that the Bible was not a religious book, but a manual of conscious energy. Each word he wrote was born from a deep state of contemplation. When his human mind went silent, the divine mind spoke. Psalm 145 was composed in the sacred order of the Hebrew alphabet, the alphabet of creation. David knew that letters are vibrational frequencies. Aleph represents the beginning, the divine spark. Tav represents manifestation, completion. And between them flows Vav, the bridge between heaven and earth. That means every verse of a psalm is a current of energy connecting invisible thought to visible matter. That's why the ancient sages said, "He who recites this psalm 3 times a day is connected to the world to come." They weren't talking about the afterlife. They were describing a state of consciousness where abundance flows without resistance. David noticed something profound. The Hebrew word avar means to cross, and it's the same root as the word Hebrew. So a true Hebrew isn't a nationality. It's someone who crosses from fear to faith, from scarcity to divine provision. Each time David recited a verse, he was crossing over, transforming dense thoughts into waves of light, rewriting his destiny with the power of the word. Abundance, he realized, is not a divine reward. It is a divine resonance. And when your words vibrate in harmony with the Creator's, everything that belongs to you by spiritual right begins to manifest. How do you know if you're tuned into that frequency? Look at your words. They reveal your level of faith. That's why the wise don't beg. They declare. They don't plead. They create. Psalm 145 was the laboratory of that divine science, a science we can rediscover today, not with blind faith, but with awakened awareness. Kabbalists teach that the universe was not made of matter, but of luminous letters. The 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet are the threads of cosmic fabric. Each one carries an intelligence that holds the world together. Psalm 145 follows that sacred order. Each verse begins with a different letter, except one, the letter Nun. Nun represents the fall, the descent, the apparent loss. David omitted it, and in its place he wrote, "God upholds those who fall." The message is perfect. Divine consciousness erases the fall before it ever happens. It doesn't deny the descent. It redeems it. When you understand this, you see that nothing in your life was a mistake. Every challenge was an energetic line, pushing you toward awakening. Letters aren't symbols. They're vibrations that organize reality. When spoken from the heart, they move the invisible planes that govern the visible world. That's why Psalm 145 is called the Psalm of Cosmic Architecture. It contains 638 letters. the exact same numerical value as the names Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Coincidence? Never. They represent the three forces of creation: thought, emotion, action. When the three unite, abundance materializes. Every time you recite this psalm, you activate those three currents: seed, growth, and harvest. And when verse 16 says, "You open your hand and satisfy the desire of every living thing," David is describing the law of divine circulation. God doesn't withhold. It's man who restricts. Lack doesn't come from heaven. It comes from a closed mind. Abundance doesn't depend on asking for more. It depends on expanding the channel. In Hebrew, the word ratsin means desire, but also means channel. Your desire is the tube through which divine light flows. If that tube is narrow from fear or guilt, the flow is blocked. If it expands with faith and gratitude, provision comes effortlessly. So when David says, "You open your hands," he's not just describing a gesture. He's teaching a law. When you open within, God opens without. The psalm doesn't change God. It changes you. And when you change, the universe responds. Every time you share a word of light, you become part of the movement. David began thousands of years ago, expanding divine consciousness through the power of the word. If this message resonates with your soul, keep the energy of Psalm 145 alive. Like this video, comment with a word of faith, subscribe to Napoleon Inspires, and awaken with us each day to the divine codes of abundance. Because when you give light, light always returns multiplied. Now we enter the revelation. That turns intention into power, the channel of will. The true power of Psalm 145 lies in verse 16. You open your hand and satisfy the desire of every living thing. This verse is the heart of the psalm, the energetic core of divine expansion. In sacred metaphysics, God's hand represents the current of spirit, energy extending without limit. And ratsin, that word translated as desire, actually means open will. That changes everything. It doesn't say God gives what you ask for. It says God fills the channel you open. The issue isn't lack of blessing. It's lack of openness. God hasn't withheld anything. He's just waiting for your will to be ready to receive. Desire, when understood spiritually, isn't greed. It's the signal that the divine within you is ready to expand. When you repress your dreams out of guilt or fear, you don't become humble. You become limited. David knew that the soul is measured by its capacity to desire without fear, not to desire from lack, but to desire from consciousness of abundance. When ego desires, it wants to possess. When spirit desires, it wants to express God through matter. So when the Bible says, you open your hand, it's reminding you that your hands are his channels. Every time you give, bless, thank, or serve, your hands become extensions of the divine hand that holds the universe. That's why receiving is also sacred. Receiving isn't selfishness. It's acknowledging that giving and receiving are two sides of the same current. Abundance gets blocked where there is fear of receiving, and fear is only a mind that forgot its source. Napoleon Hill said it best. Faith only becomes power when it becomes conscious action. In spiritual language, that means opening the channel of your will. It's not enough to believe that God provides. You must act as someone who's already been provided for. Each thought, each word, each gesture either expands or contracts your inner channel. When you think abundance, you widen it. When you think doubt, you close it. And life responds exactly to the measure of your openness. Have you ever felt that your prayers go unanswered? It's not divine silence. It's resonance. The universe can only echo the frequency you send. Every time you recite Psalm 145, you're not begging for a miracle. You're tuning your vibration to heaven's frequency. You're aligning your human mind with divine will. And when that happens, miracles stop being extraordinary. They become natural. The secret isn't to ask louder. It's to desire higher. Let your desires rise from material craving to purpose consciousness. Because when your purpose aligns with divine will, everything you need flows to you without resistance. David understood. It's not enough that God opens his hand. You must open yours too. When you open your hands to give and your heart to receive, you recreate the same movement that keeps the universe alive. That's the true prayer. Not words thrown into the sky, but an inner gesture of openness. Right now, pause. Look at your hands. See them for what they are, instruments of light. And in silence, repeat within, I am a channel of divine abundance. My will is open. All that I give and receive flows in perfect harmony. In that instant, you're not just repeating a psalm. You're participating in the very act of creation, where human consciousness and divine mind merge as one. When David wrote Psalm 145, he wasn't leaving a poem. He left a spiritual technology, a method to reconnect with the source. That's why the sages of Israel taught that this psalm should be recited 3 times a day, at dawn, noon, and sunset, not out of superstition, but because those 3 moments mirror the 3 movements of the soul: birth, expansion, rest. In the morning, light awakens creation. At noon, the inner fire reaches its peak. At dusk, the energy returns home, closing the cycle in gratitude. Reciting the psalm at these times isn't mechanical, it's alignment. It synchronizes your breath with the breath of God. They said, he who recites Psalm 145 3 times daily joins the rhythm of the universe, because every time you pronounce it, you align with the forces that sustain order and abundance. Step 1. Prepare the space and the heart. Find a quiet place. You don't need candles or incense, just presence. Sit down. Close your eyes. Breathe 3 times. Once to calm the mind, once to open the heart, once to offer the soul. Imagine a golden sphere of light surrounding you. Each inhale connects you with the divine mind. Each exhale releases all worry and lack. You're not here to ask. You're here to remember. The power is already within you. Step 2. The morning psalm, plant the light. Before your day begins, read Psalm 145 aloud. Sound is vibration. Vibration is creation. When you say, I will exalt you, my God, my King, imagine each word planting seeds of light. In your mental field, let every word rest in you. Feel how your voice builds. The atmosphere of your day. Morning represents spiritual sowing. Whatever you declare at dawn becomes the frequency guiding your choices. Step 3. The noon psalm, expansion and gratitude. At the height of the day, pause for a few minutes. Recite the psalm again. This time not to ask, but to thank. Thank you, God, because abundance already flows in me. When you reach verse 16, you open your hand and satisfy the desire of every living thing. Physically open your hands. Visualize a cascade of golden light, pouring from above, filling your palms, flowing through your arms, spreading through your body. That light is Shifa, divine energy of infinite provision. As you feel it, repeat silently. My channel is open. My desire is pure. All I need arrives in harmony. This is expansion, manifestation in motion. Step 4. The evening psalm, return to silence. At sunset, recite the psalm one final time. Now you don't ask. You don't even thank. You surrender. Imagine the golden light returning to the heavens, like a river flowing back to its source. Feel peace. The cycle is complete. Desire, action, rest. This is faith in its purest state. The peace of knowing you are held. Every word of Psalm 145 carries a frequency, and the strongest vibration comes from verse 16, where the divine name that activates abundance is hidden. When you pronounce it, do it with awareness. Patich iti yudika. You open your hands. You open your heart. You allow the Creator's energy to flow through you. You're not the one who asks. You are the one who channels. When you speak with intention, the universe responds with perfection. This ritual isn't about instant results. It's about alignment. And when mind, heart, and action align, results become inevitable. This isn't magic. It's law, the law of vibration and correspondence. The same law known by prophets, mystics, and Napoleon Hill himself. That's why this psalm doesn't belong to the past. It belongs to you. Every time you recite it, the universe remembers its divine order, and you remember your place within it, a living extension of abundance itself. When you finish, stay silent. Don't ask for anything. Just feel that fullness rising inside. That's the presence of God within you. If you practice this ritual for several days, something profound happens. Your life doesn't change first. Your perception does. And when perception changes, everything else follows. Take a breath. Inhale deeply, exhale slowly. Each breath is a conversation with God. He gives you breath, and you return it as awareness. Now imagine yourself standing in a golden field. The horizon glows with the light of sunset. A gentle breeze touches your face. You're not alone. The entire universe breathes with you. Look at your hands. They open slowly like flowers greeting the sun. As they do, a warm current descends. It's not imagination. It's energy, the same energy David felt when he wrote, "You open your hand and satisfy the desire of every living thing." In that moment, something in you opens too. You don't know if it's your hands, your mind, or your soul. You just feel expansion. That is real prayer. The moment you stop talking to God and start listening to Him within you. Because when the soul is open, abundance is no longer something you seek. It's something you remember. The tension, the fear, the need to control, all dissolve like fog under sunlight. You realize something powerful. God never stopped giving. He simply stopped receiving. He never closed His hand. Your faith did. And now, as you breathe this light, you feel that faith expanding again. A golden waterfall pours through you, not from the sky, but from within. Because heaven is not above. Heaven is the space that opens when you trust. Stay there for a moment. Don't ask for anything. Just allow the current to flow through you. Your heart slows. Your mind quiets. And a silent certainty rises. Everything is okay. Everything is coming. Everything already is. And in that sacred stillness, you hear a voice whisper, "My child, you are not lack. You are the channel." That's the opening. The moment abundance becomes experience. When prayer becomes communion. Hold this moment in your spiritual memory. Whenever doubt returns, just close your eyes, remember the golden field, and open your hands again. You've reached the end of this journey. But what begins now is far greater. A new covenant between your soul and divine abundance. Because you're no longer the seeker. You are the rememberer. You no longer pray from need. You pray from certainty. And that certainty opens every door. From this moment on, every word you speak is a seed. Every thought a structure of light. Don't recite Psalm 145 out of habit. Live it as frequency. When you say, "You open your hand and satisfy the desire of every living thing." Understand this. You're not describing God. You're activating the law of giving and receiving that He placed within you. Abundance will not come from outside. It already flows from your consciousness. You just have to stay open. And when life tests you, remember this truth. God doesn't take away. He reorders. Nothing truly lost is outside the plan. Every silence, every change, is part of the flow that lifts you higher. So make a covenant with yourself and the source. Keep your channel open. Give without fear. Receive without guilt. And thank without limit. If this message lit a spark within you, let it expand. Comment below. I am a channel of divine abundance. Subscribe. Share this word. And let others remember too. Because every time you expand the light returns multiplied to you. Napoleon inspires, blesses you. May abundance find you and never let you go.